Coming up next is my interview with creative synthesis coach Juleisy Polanco Garcia, founder of PlanningGems. She's talking about why she started her business, her coaching techniques, what creative synthesis means, and so much more. You don't want to miss this interview. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Poet Miner podcast. I'm your host, Poet Miner, and today's topic is elements of personal coaching. And my special guest is Juleisy Polanco Garcia. She's a creative synthesis coach and founder of PlanningGems. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so happy that you're here. You know what? To get us started, why don't you just give us a little background of how you got here on your road to having your own company? If I remember correctly, during COVID-19, you were in college and graduating. So can you tell us a little bit about that story?
Yeah, so I was actually on my last semester of my undergrad degree, and I had came back home after everything happened, obviously, and then we went remote, and that was such an interesting experience for me, how everything kind of shifted and can be remote, and how you have your Zoom meetings and things like that. So I feel like that was kind of the start of the virtual coaching that kind of already like how it led up to that. So that was my first experience of it. So I got my degree, and what I studied in was sociology,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the study of different groups. I was always really curious or interested on why certain people behave the way they did and what elements were factored into how the outcome of their lives were. So I studied that in college.
And that's how you got into the coaching?
No, so I did that, and that kind of sparked my interest. And then I was introduced to coaching and consulting actually in 2023, and that led me to go back to grad school.
Mhm.
So I was doing it like freelancing um for different individuals and small businesses. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, I can actually, this is what I really like to do, and I can start a business off of this. And so I did. And then I fully launched my website earlier this year. And I've been taking clients ever since, and I'm really excited.
Yeah. Now, did you share your goals of being a coach with anybody? And if you did you get any support or you didn't get support?
Yeah, so I told my mom and I told my close friends, and I have a village behind me, and I'm really grateful for that. And I think that's one of the things of why I enjoy coaching too, because it wasn't until I got out into the real world that I saw that many people aren't supported the way that I grew up in community. And I wanted to share that. I wanted to create those safe spaces for other people because I felt like that's the reason why I've gotten so far. And so yeah, they banded behind me, and they were like, I see that naturally in you, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to do, you're more than capable of doing.
Yeah. Do you have a specific clientele, like women or men or people of color, or
Good
you go
question.
on
So
spectrum?
my niche is more of individuals and businesses in transition. So I am open to working with all types of demographics because I feel like transitional periods hit us all.
Mm-hmm.
And not a lot of people know how to navigate change. So it's not a more about my coaching style isn't what you look like. It's more about where you are in your life and how you want to navigate that change.
Okay, and that could be a change in business or in your personal life.
Correct. So it looks different when it's coaching. An individual can mean a divorce or a marriage. It can mean you just had a baby. It can mean you're looking for a new job opportunity. One of the most interesting ones that I've worked with is with 86-year-old client, and her transition is getting ready for death. And that's one of the biggest transitions that everyone is due to bound to happen.
Uh,
Then in business, it can be scaling your business, finding your audience and how to attract that. So it looks different.
Yeah. But how do you do that wide spectrum? Like, are you constantly in training, learning about these different things, like helping people with deaf, helping people with business, helping with people with sobriety or anything like that?
So the things that so I had to go to a coaching program,
Mm,
and that gave me the foundation of what I do. But I think that what I focus on is presence and questions. If you have those two things, you can coach anyone.
wow.
And that's probably the hardest things that a coach can, once you master that, you can kind of go into any setting. Presence, listening, active listening, making the client feel like whatever they bring into the session is important, because you can experience all these things with one client. They go through a job loss. If you think about it, they're gonna get to an age when they have to face death, a divorce or a marriage, a new baby. All of those things can happen with one person. So
Mhm.
how can you be present for them in all those different stages of their lives?
Have you any of your own personal adversities that probably blocked you from getting to the coaching stage?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think the one that immediately came to mind was I've always I struggled internally, which I'm sure a lot of people have, with this idea of wanting to present my business perfectly.
Mm,
And that to me held me back for maybe like a year from posting my business. And I would do word of mouth, and that was great. But I feel like if I want to reach the magnitude or help or be in service to as many people as possible, then I had to put myself out there. And that fear was blocking me. And so those are the limiting beliefs that I work with my clients with, that I had to kind of coach myself in and be in the client seat and being like, these are obstacles that aren't going to get you to where you need to go. And that's limiting me.
mhm. Do you have a coach?
That's a good question. So I am in the stage of my coaching program where I already graduated, and we got paired with mentors.
Mhm.
So throughout the coaching program, you are the client. Like, you're learning to be a coach, but indirectly there's so many things within yourself that you use the tools on yourself before you can even face a client.
Earlier, in our pre-interview, you talked about you have a strong intuition. Tell us
Mhm.
about that strong intuition and how that helps you with your coaching.
Good question. So I've always been like kind of like a strong-willed kid. I always knew what direction I wanted to go in. I didn't really have like a role model. And so I had to kind of see who my highest self was going to be and what steps did she take and kind of navigate that way. So, for example, I was born and raised in the Bronx. Not a lot of people went away for college.
Mm,
And when my family immigrated here, and none of them got the opportunity to go to college. And I knew that that's something that I really wanted to do. So I took the steps throughout school to make sure that I can do that and set myself up for success that way. Then when coming back from college, I knew I wanted a certain job. Then when I initiated the coaching, I knew that I wanted it to feel a certain way. And then making sure that I'm aligned with the things that feel right to me, and then the pieces kind of fall together.
okay, so
Uh,
you have your own set of values and you
yes,
don't go below those values that you have for yourself and for your clients.
right.
At some point, you said you were selling journals. Tell us about the journals that you were selling. I'm sorry to laugh
It's
because,
okay. Everyone starts somewhere. That's the first thing I'm gonna say. And
yeah.
I feel like looking back, it is funny because I thought I came up with the name PlanningGems because I thought that I was going to sell products that helped people organize, because that's a passion of mine, not understanding that it was going to lead me to a service-based um business instead of a product-based. And now I'm in a place where I'm like, I can do both, but really what I love to do is engage with people, and help them, give them the tools mentally, or give them the space to be able to rearrange. and organize their lives instead of so much of selling planners on Amazon. That's what I started with.
Okay. But are you going to implement that at some point? Journals
Yeah.
into your business?
So if you go to my website, there's a shop, and it says coming soon. And I have journals, planners, pens, and all those kinds of things that I use on a daily basis to stay organized that I think are really valuable. Um, and my idea is to sell products that align with my coaching so that my clients can use on a daily basis.
Your coaching is one-on-one, or do you have group coaching at some point? Is
Yeah, so I'm starting with one-on-ones, and once I have like milestones that I want to hit in my business, and in my community page on my website, you can see I'm going to offer one-on-ones that I want to then offer tier 2 group coaching. And what that's going to look like is posing a topic that I feel like my clients are all um struggling with in the same ways. And a lot of people think that they struggle with that individually. And I want that to be an opportunity for people to hear different perspectives on the same topic and kind of be a safe space with other like-minded individuals.
but I want people to know that you just started your company. How old is it?
So I would say since 2023, I've been coaching, but fully launched and established, I would say January of 2025, really.
Put this. What can you say to someone to let them know that you can do what you need to do or you want to do now?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's something called in coaching called turtle steps. And I think that a lot of people focus on that end goal, and it can be overwhelming because you can't see from where you are now to that goal. Turtle steps are you break it down. What can I do today that will align me with that goal? So I would say start small. I know before we started in our pre-interview, you mentioned you're like, I don't have any special lights. I don't have a special camera. And here you are interviewing different business owners and doing what you're passionate about. So, and that's something that I needed to, like I mentioned, that perfectionism will never get the momentum that you need to get going. So just start and start small and talk about it. And I think the biggest part is seeing your identity in it. I am a coach, and I was a coach before I believed that I was a coach. I just had to keep affirming it.
Yeah, that's a good affirmation. I am a podcaster. I'm going to use that one. Okay, let's get to your title, Creative Synthesist. Tell the people what that is and what it means.
So where that came from was that I wanted to do coaching and I wanted to consulting at that point where I was thinking about it, but I didn't want to be called that. And I wanted a name that attracted what I was doing for my clients and what I've done all my life. And that is take all the resources that I've had available to me, put them together to create a new reality. And so when my clients come into a session, they kind of throw all these different ideas and I ground them to understand, like, okay, well, what do you have at your disposal and what can you make work with what you have? And you'll be surprised. There's people who have amazing networks, who have amazing opportunities and resources at their disposal. They just need help putting it together. So that's where creative synthesis comes from. I partner with you. And I always want my clients to know that I don't do anything that you already don't have within. Like what you were saying, like what would you tell someone who is just starting out? You already have that dream within you. So that means that you're able to do it. You just have to bring it out externally or put the pieces together internally for it to manifest outwardly.
Do you have any sort of a ritual that you do before you meet with a client? Most people get all prayed up or they light a candle or incense or something.
That's a good question. So what I do, because presence and questions, that's the things that I refer to. I am there to show up for the client and not to get attention. So the I see myself always do this is taking the deepest breath and letting go whatever I have going on because this session isn't about me, it's about the client. And I feel like holding space is the most simplest thing you can do for someone, but you have to be present. So that breathing. And sometimes you will want just active listening, or you want to kind of guide the session in a way, and taking a deep breath is a good reminder that you're just there to be present. So I keep my ritual pretty simple because I want to be focused.
Mhm. Okay. Um, I have to look down for a moment because when we were talking before, you said that something about there is no shame in your accomplishments. Remember that? Could you talk a little bit about that? What you had said, there's no shame in your accomplishments. Why did you say it and what did you mean?
That's a good question. So I think I'm in a place right now where I'm pretty young and I've done some solid things in my life. Like for example, one of the biggest things that I've been able to accomplish is that I'm really close to closing on a rental property. And I'm really proud of that. And I think that when you accomplish things, you don't want to be boastful. And I had to get over that because there are things that you have sacrificed, that you have dedicated to, that you have the discipline to get done, to initiate your first business, to graduate from grad school, to do all these big things. And you need to hold space to celebrate yourself. So that's where that came from.
Everybody, I have been talking to Juleisy. I said it right this time?
Casey.
Polanco Garcia, creative synthesis coach for founder of PlanningGems. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. And I apologize for looking down, but that's where my notes are.
Thank you for having me. It has been amazing. Your questions and presence, you have that too.
Thank you. Bam. Thank you, everybody, for joining us and see you on the next show.